Hey guys, my name is Liz and welcome to my channel. Today's video is my fourth on the topic of addiction recovery. Addiction is something I struggled with for many years of my life. I have been addicted to weed and nicotine since I was 16, but porn and food and all kinds of other stuff even longer before that. And I have relapsed and tried to quit over and over and over and over and over and over. I would never just accepted my addiction and just took it. I was always in a process of trying to quit. It was really, really difficult and painful and just disappointing, and all kinds of negative emotions were a part of that whole process. But I'm on the other side of that, and I'm so passionate about sharing my message and sharing what I have learned in the last few years, and particularly in this last year of being completely sober, not having any sort of relapse with any sort of one of my past addictions. I haven't had a binge. I haven't watched porn. I haven't even masturbated for that fact. I have a boyfriend, but I haven't smoked. I haven't drank. I haven't done mushrooms. I haven't smoked a vape. I haven't hit anything. I have been completely sober. I've been balanced on my phone. I'm not consumed with social media or TV shows or anything like that. I'm free. I genuinely am free, and I rely solely on God, and I get my dopamine naturally, and I have been working towards my goals, and I have been accomplishing things, and it's been a beautiful fucking journey. And I am here to share some of the tools that I have learned that help me stay sober. Because believe me, there were days when being sober was the best thing that ever happened to me, and then there were days where I desperately wanted to numb myself, and I desperately wanted to just give in, give up, and just smoke some weed or smoke some vape or whatever it was. And the thing about addiction is that it is really a one day at a time process. You cannot expect everything to be rainbows and sunshines the whole way through. There are going to be days where it's going to be really difficult. There are going to be days where you're going to have FOMO. You might, if you're missing out because your friends are out there drinking or smoking or doing whatever you used to do. There might be days where you just have insane things happening. Maybe you lose someone in your life. Maybe something just crazy happens that was completely unexpected. And you might be extremely tempted to just relapse and fall back into those old patterns. And these tools, I think, would really help you in order to kind of have something to fall back on those moments. Being able to look back and be like, okay, I know I want to give up right now, but I'm not going to. I've committed to staying sober. And so that's what today's video is going to be about. And I'm going to get right into it. Okay, so the first tool is going to be developing your values. You need to sit down and write down your reasons why. And this can take some time. And this can kind of be a process as you're deeper and deeper into your sobriety journey, because more things will come up and you will need to become aware of them and rewire them. Because the reality is that when you're addicted to something, your ego has a lot of control over you. You are listening to those thoughts and you're giving into them, and your ego likes to be in control. So when you quit and you start experiencing discomfort, which is the ego's least favorite thing, it's going to start putting you in little feedback loops, and it's going to be justifying your addiction, romanticizing it. It's going to be making excuses and negotiating on how you can keep it in your life and what way can you justify to yourself that it's okay. It might say things like, well, all your friends do it. Why can't you do it? Or you deserve to have a good time, right? It's not so bad. And it'll just come up with all kinds of excuses. And so having developed values and reasons for why you're quitting, why you want to be sober, is crucial to staying sober, right? So that when you have those little thoughts popping up, you can become aware, that's not me. That's my ego. My ego wants me to give up. My ego doesn't want me to go through this growth, through this change, because it's going to have less control of me on the other side of it. So you have to catch yourself, and you have to find different thoughts and different beliefs to replace with the ones that you currently held. And you need to understand that your values need to come before anybody else's. You cannot live your life according to other people's values. You're going to have friends and family who might not like that you're going to quit drinking with them, or that you're going to quit smoking with them, or that you're going to quit doing what you've been doing. And they might have their 2 cents to put in, and they might feel judged or kind of ashamed of themselves in a way. Maybe not ashamed, there's another word for it, but they might feel insecure in their own, addiction or pattern or habit, and they might not like that you're quitting. And so you need to be able to withstand other people's opinions. You really need to be solid and firm in what you believe about yourself and your commitment to this recovery, because you cannot listen to the outside world. It will hold you back and it can stunt you. You'll sit there and replay those people's thoughts, and you understand that people are going to get triggered by this. You're going to trigger their ego, right? Their ego is going to be like, oh, they're making me uncomfortable. They're threatening my control over you. Let's say something to them just to kind of take them down a notch because they think they're better than us, right? And that's not what the whole point is. You don't need to be thinking you're better than other people for doing this, right? But you can't let their, misery drag you down with them or keep you stuck there with them. So having developed whys is going to be the number one thing that you can do for staying committed to your recovery journey. So tool number 2 is emotional regulation. And I'm going to have a few techniques for this, but really you have to start feeling those emotions that you have been running away from for as long as you've been addicted, right? That's really the root of a lot of what we're doing is we're running away from discomfort. We're avoiding certain things about ourselves, certain thought processes, beliefs, whatever it is, wounds, trauma, like most of us have been running from something. And so recovery is the invitation to sit with yourself, to sit with those feelings and allow them to move through you and pass, right? You don't have to hold on to them. You don't have to sit in that, state for too long, but you have to start to feel and allow yourself that space. And it's a beautiful process. And if you embrace it, it really can be quite the healing journey that you're going to embark on. And so the number one technique that I like to use when I'm feeling emotionally dysregulated is E.F.T tapping. It's emotional freedom technique tapping. A lot of people don't like to believe that things like this are effective, but don't knock it until you try it. And the reason that I love this one is because it's so simple. You can do it anywhere. If you're having a panic attack in the fucking restaurant, like go to the bathroom and just tap a little bit. And you can look up the acupuncture points. I won't tell you, but you're basically tapping and stimulating them. And you're just going down and you're repeating positive affirmations, whether in your head, but preferably out loud. If you're somewhere public, maybe say it in your head. And what this does is this actually brings your body into a state of calm, because the reality is that when you start to have a panic attack or get really high negative emotions, high amounts of negative emotions, your body starts to go into fight or flight. It's like, what's wrong? What's going on? Is there a tiger? Like, why are we afraid? In our modern world, maybe we don't have tigers, but we have Samantha over there who's talking shit about us and it's triggering us, right? So whatever it is, your body still responds the same way. Like, that's a threat. That person is threatening me, or that situation is, or this scares me, or I'm angry, or I'm whatever it is, or you're just saying negative things about yourself, and you have to catch yourself and stop those thoughts. And so what E.F.T tapping does is it kind of brings your body back into a calm state. So your nervous system becomes re-regulated and you have a sense of peace, and then you're able to move forward. And the beauty is that while you're repeating those affirmations, you're actually replacing those thoughts with what you want to believe, right? So when your ego is telling you all these negative things, all these things you're afraid of, all these things you hate or about yourself or another person, well, you can catch yourself, you can do E.F.T tapping while repeating the things that you do want to believe in, the things you want to replace those thoughts with. And it works wonders, I'm telling you guys. And then another technique is breathwork. This one is another one that you really can just do anywhere. You can look up a little, 5-minute, 10-minute breathwork video on YouTube. There's apps for it. But really what breathwork does is it kind of does the same thing. It regulates your nervous system. It moves energy through your body. And so it, lowers your blood pressure. It lowers your blood pressure. It, calms your heart rate. And so again, it's regulating your body into telling yourself like, it's safe, I'm okay. The thing about breathwork is that you can really use this and maximize this tool to really move through deep trauma. So I recommend finding a breathwork practitioner and doing a longer session when there's something deep rooted that you have just been dealing with for years of your life and that you just haven't been able to move forward from. Most likely you have stored that trauma in your nervous system and you've carried it with you, and your body thinks it's normal and it has a hard time letting go of these habits. Your body has addictions just as much as you did with the substances, right? And so your nervous system needs to kind of restabilize itself through your sobriety journey. And breathwork is going to be a major, major tool in order to help you, even in the little moments of just finding calm. Take a deep breath, right? They always say that, calm down, take a deep breath, do a couple minutes of it. But if there is something that's just been like torturing you or tormenting you for years, then doing a really long, solid, 1 hour breathwork session with a practitioner who can push you more than maybe you're comfortable going, that breath work is going to do wonders for you. I have found more like insight and beauty through my breathwork sessions than I even did through certain psychedelic experiences. Guys, I'm sorry. It rained and now all the bugs are in my office. The mosquitoes, the flies. So I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do. So then, of course, another technique is meditating, right? When we're quitting something, our ego has been in control of us for a long time. And to gain back that control, we have to meditate. We have to become aware of the thoughts that we are constantly letting pass by. We have to become aware. We don't have to judge them. We don't have to hate ourselves for thinking those thoughts. We just have to detach that isn't me. And so sitting down and meditating is uncomfortable, and it can be boring, and it can be annoying, and all the things. But even if you just do it for a little here and there, or even if you're cooking or in the middle of something kind of, not too strenuous, I guess, whatever it is that you're doing, washing dishes, a chore where you don't really have to think too deeply, you can attempt to meditate and watch as those thoughts still pass by you, and become aware of, what do those thoughts tell you? What kind of beliefs do they hold about yourself? What do they think about so-and-so? What do they think about you? What do they tell you about your life? Are they telling you you're a victim? Are they telling you that you can't do certain things? Or what are those beliefs? And start to replace them. That ties back in with, developing your values and developing your why. You have to be aware of what thoughts you've held on to this whole time, because those thoughts are likely the reason you were addicted to begin with. And they're likely the reason that's going to hold you back from being successful in your recovery. So those are really the number one things that you can do, is just rewire those thinking patterns, rewire those beliefs about yourself. And then the third technique, and this one is for those really, really difficult days. I'm talking to my ladies in particular. I know we're more emotional. We have hormonal stuff, right? There are days where we're just feeling like we're going mad, period, PMS. If you have a hormone imbalance, it could be worse. If you're pregnant, whatever it is, I don't know, but there's sometimes external things that just make us feel like we just want to die. I don't know if everyone's like this, but I definitely go through days like that. And I have found that sometimes the best thing is just to take a fucking nap. Just take a nap, or just go to bed early that night. Sometimes going to sleep can just really give you that like clean slate that you need. It can completely shut your mind down, completely like shut your body down. Everything can rest. And then the next day you can come back to it with just a more calmer, relaxed state of mind and place, because sometimes the breath work might not work. Sometimes the E.F.T tapping might not, do the job. If there are days when it just can be that bad. Maybe you got into a fight, a really bad fight, or just like so many bad things happen back to back. Instead of numbing yourself, just take a nap. I'm telling you right now, just see that as kind of like the last resort. If you're not a napper, just try to lay down and shut your mind off, do some breath work to kind of stimulate. You can do breath work that helps you fall asleep, whatever it is. That is just, again, not everyone's going to have the opportunity to do this. That's when you do the E.F.T tapping and the other stuff, and you just kind of try to get through the day. But if it's just been the day from hell, instead of going and buying a drink, buying those cigarettes or whatever it is, going watching porn, just take a fucking nap or go to bed early and call it a day, and you will feel better tomorrow, and you can deal with it from a more refreshed state of mind, more refreshed point of view. Okay, so the next tool, and this one is a little more lighthearted, and that's dopamine. You have to find ways to have fun while being sober. You are never going to stick with this if you think that being sober means you have to be boring, that you can't have fun, that you can't go live your life, or whatever. The reality is, you just have to be a little more creative about it, because society has given us okay, you grow up, you go to the bars, you go to clubs, you do this, you do that, and this is how you have a good time. Well, no, think back when you were a child. You never needed anything to have a good time, to have fun, to play, and you deserve to tap into that energy whenever you feel like you need to. And so Finding ways to be able to enjoy your life naturally without any substances is going to be crucial to you actually committing to your sobriety and staying on that path. When your friends, are out doing, again, what you used to think was fun and what you used to think you wanted to do, it's going to be hard to not feel like you're missing out. But if you have things that you do that bring you pleasure, that bring you joy on a day-to-day basis, or at least on a weekly basis or whatever, then you're not going to feel like you're missing out on anything, because you know that you found better, that you found things that bring you joy without needing to compromise your goals, compromise your mental clarity, compromise your body and your health. You have found the natural way. And this can be a little bit more challenging. Of course, again, like I said, you have to be a little bit creative about this. I'll give you a couple examples. My boyfriend and I, we used to go down to the city in Oakland for my birthday. It kind of just randomly turned into a tradition after we did it one year, and we would smoke weed. We'd walk around the bay and the city and just have fun, right? Well, my first birthday being sober, since we had been together, I decided to still go down to the city, but instead we went to a science museum. And it's, for adults and kids, there's definitely a lot of stuff for kids, but it was fun to be able to just walk around and be sober and just play with all the different stations and the cool sciencey stuff and just learn about things. And I had a really great time doing that. And then for his birthday, we would usually go camping and smoke weed and maybe take shrooms and stuff. Well, this last year for his birthday, we ended up still going camping, but we brought my camera and his drone, and he flew his drone around, and I did some nature photography, like things that we love to do. But when we would get high and do shrooms or whatever, and guys, not knocking shrooms, but that's what we always did when we would go out and go into nature. And I never got to pull out my camera and do that stuff. You really can't do too much, right? And so again, finding ways to still have a really great time and not need to compromise your sobriety, and that's still possible. Now, those are like for bigger things, but on like a weekly, monthly basis, you can find things like going out dancing. I actually found an ecstatic dance group in Sacramento, and I never went dancing before. I was never a club party drunk kind of girl. So I never even went dancing, and I actually started dancing in this space soberly, and that's actually what's recommended for ecstatic dance. So that's what I love about it, is that nobody there is drunk. Some people are high, but that's not a big deal to me. I come there and I just have a great time, right? And like, there are things that you can do to be able to create your own fun. You can get into rope flow as an exercise. You can get into hula hooping. You can get back into running or exercising or whatever it is that you like to do or that you have always loved to do, but maybe you don't have a lot of time for. This is the time. Write those things down. Have a list for like the things that you find enjoyment doing. Get into a hobby, start painting, and invite your friends to do it with you. If you're feeling lonely or you're feeling like your friends are out there doing this, well, invite them to do these other things with you, the sober things. Maybe they have forgotten or lost sight that you can still have a good time and not have to get high or not have to get drunk or have to be under any sort of influence. Another example is, for this year for my birthday, which was, my full year coming around being sober, we went diving. Instead of going to the city, I was like, I love to scuba dive. I got my boyfriend and my sister, who got certified together, and haven't been diving since, because we always had other things going on and just didn't really prioritize it. Well, I was like, you know what, this year for my birthday, I want to go diving. And if that seems out of reach to you, that's the beauty about sobriety, is that now that you're not going to be spending money on alcohol and weed and all these things, you can invest into things like diving or skydiving or, taking swim lessons if you've always wanted to swim, or getting into jujitsu or Muay Thai or something cool like that. Like, I know a girl who got into pole dancing, and honestly, it looks fun. Not in the stripper kind of way, but just like, these are fun, cool exercises. And yeah, they like require memberships or lessons, but again, if that's what you're going to get enjoyment and pleasure out of, it's worth the investment. So you have to start kind of thinking outside of the box. And again, like, it might cost money, but so did your addiction, so did your habit usually, right? And if it didn't, maybe you'll have more time to earn more money now that you're not wasting your time doing something else or whatever it was. And, you can learn to cook new things. You can, start to go hiking on a weekly or like monthly basis. You can find all kinds of things. And I know a lot of the times, to an addictive mind, these things can almost seem boring without the thought of having their substance there with them, right? But believe me, when you're sober, these things bring you so much joy and fulfillment. You do not feel like you're missing anything. You don't feel like you need anything more to enhance this moment. The present is just beautiful as is. And so having these sort of goals and lists that you want to kind of work towards and have and do, and you need a fun, okay? You need natural dopamine. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to stay on your sober journey very long, because then you're going to be like, well, I'm having a shit time. Life is about finding joy, right? And being happy. Well, that's, weed gave me that. So I'm going to go back to smoking weed. Like, no, if you don't really put your best foot forward and actually try and put effort into this, then yeah, that's what's going to happen. So prioritize having fun, but find creative ways, challenge yourself to really explore your interests, explore new hobbies, and just have fun, guys. Have fun. Okay, final tool. This one's a little bit deeper, and it's purpose. You guys, you need a purpose. A lot of you already know what your purpose is, but maybe you've been afraid. Maybe you felt like you can never achieve it. Maybe you felt you've never been able to accomplish it. Well, once you become sober and you can let go of your addiction, I feel like you really take on this, like, I can fucking do anything type of, mentality. And it's beautiful. And I think that's like a really beautiful part about recovery, is that you really do understand, like, wow, if I could get past doing what I used to do every single day to being where I'm at now, I can do anything. And you really do start to open a lot of new doors. There is like a natural give and take in life, you guys. You have to be able to sort of let go of the things that hold you back in order to open and create space for the new things, the beautiful things that you do want to do deep down. And if you don't yet have a purpose, or you don't really know what it is, allow your recovery to be a temporary fill-in. Even if you don't feel like you want to make addiction recovery or sobriety your whole life's purpose, even just committing to that for the time being and joining some sort of AA, Al-Anon groups, or helping other people, just finding some sort of community where you can feel like you are, doing something, giving back, getting fulfillment, like living up to some sort of purpose, then you're more likely to stay sober and then find other avenues through that. But it helps to just have something. And if you don't already know what that is, then that's a great place to start for the time being. And another thing about this whole aspect of purpose is that you're going to probably learn slow growth. This is something that addicts really need to learn. You're so used to getting instantaneous gratification, right? You can just take that hit and get high, take that drink and get drunk. You're so used to things just happening quickly that I think we forget what it's like to slowly work towards something and accomplish something. So really embrace slow progress. That's going to be a huge part of your journey, and it's going to be rewiring you and teaching you that life is a journey, and that you can't just get like hooked on the high of the destination, right? Because then you're treating it just like an addiction. And so I really do believe that it is sort of part of this initiation process, is that you're going to relearn how to embrace slow growth, slow progress. And your new life is going to cost you your old one. You are going to have to give up certain things in order to get here. And so those are some of the main tools that I have found that have helped me stay sober for the last few years. I have come so far. I have accomplished so many things. I have learned to embrace slow progress and growth. That's what I'm doing here on YouTube in the first place. Look, I have like 10 views on my, videos, and that's okay. And I'm just going to embrace the journey and going to continue showing up consistently with discipline. And that's how I treat my sobriety. That's how I treat all aspects of my life now. And so recovery has been beautiful. And these tools are the only reason that I'm here today, not getting high and just in my house doing the same thing that I used to do every single day. This is why I'm here, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I hope that these tools can help you do the same. Good luck, you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.